Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to our coffee times together. And today I'm bringing you again a video on if you like this, watch that.
It's coffee time.
So since you guys really enjoyed the first video that I did about this, I decided to make a new list. So I'm here to bring you more movie recommendations. I have a list of 5 films and recommending you a film based on that one. And I hope that you enjoy it. So let's get to it. The first one is actually a trio, even though I could have mentioned 4 different movies here because they are all kind of related. So let me explain. So I watched The Wildling, and even though it had a lot of flaws, I really did enjoy this film. It features Brad and that was one of the selling points for me, as well as Liv Tyler being in the movie. And it is about this girl that has been raised in a cabin in the middle of the woods by this kind of creepy old man, and she has been told that there is this creature outside that feeds on children, and so she should not leave this house, and she's being locked in her room with key and everything. But one day she manages to go outside, and that's when everything starts to go downhill. And because she was kept in this room for so long, she doesn't really understand how to behave like a regular human being. So from there, if you enjoyed that film, there are other movies that have to do with feral animal-like women, and of course the first one that I have to mention is The Woman. The Woman is a film by Lucky McKee that was actually a sequel to Offspring, which is another one that I could have mentioned, but I decided to start with The Woman. This film is about this woman that is found in the woods behaving like an animal, feeding on dead corpses, and she's found by this guy that takes her home, and this guy is very mentally unstable. And one of the good things about this film is the gore. The gore was for me what made this movie good, but I did not enjoy so much how they handled other topics, other trigger warnings like abuse and all of these things. But the film does have to do with a feral animal-like woman that doesn't know how to act like a regular human being. And especially if you love gore, I think you should give this one a try because the main actress does such a great job in this film. So even though there are other topics that I didn't think the movie addressed as well as I would have hoped, I think in general it's still a good film. And the third one is Darling from 2019, directed by Pollyanna McIntosh. And the fun thing here is that Pollyanna McIntosh is actually the actress that played the woman in the film The Woman. And she decided to make a film kind of similar to that one. So in this film we have like this beautiful teenage girl that is found and brought to a hospital. She acts like an animal, she bites people, she doesn't know how to act, and she's being brought to this kind of church so that they can rehabilitate her into being a regular good human being. I did enjoy a lot of things about Darling. And from these 3 films, I think my favorite might still be Wildling, and even though it had many flaws, and the gore in The Woman was spot on. Next we have The Blair Witch Project. So this is a film from 1999 in which 3 students of filmmaking decide to go to Maryland to explore the legend of the Blair Witch. So basically the 3 disappeared, and a year later their equipment is found and the footage of what they had recorded is being released. So the creators of this film actually in 1993 developed the story of the Blair Witch. They came up with the idea and they had like a very rough script, so most of it was actually improvised. And this film, it gave like a new boost to found footage films, and we got later on movies like Wreck or like Paranormal Activity, we got like Cloverfield. It kind of ignited again the genre a little bit, if you may. And I remember when I went to see this film in 1999, I went to the cinema and I took my dad because I was, you know, very young still for this kind of films. And, you know, I was really enjoying the film, and when the end came, it had an impact. You know, it's one of those movies that once you see it, it's gonna have an effect on you. And I think that with a very low budget, they managed to make such a great film. And the movie that I would recommend you to watch if you enjoyed the Blair Witch Project, it is not a found footage film, but it's another movie that has to do with the woods and with exploring and finding, you know, finding darker things that they expected in the woods, and that is The Ritual from 2017. This is a British horror film about a group of friends that, after losing one of their friends that was murdered, they decide to take a hike in the mountains and kind of reconnect and kind of do it also for their friend that they lost. But when they enter deeper and deeper into the woods, they decide to take a shortcut, and they discover something that they should have not uncovered. I don't want to say anything else about the film because else I'm gonna spoil it, but the whole atmosphere, the darkness that it had, I think if you enjoyed the Blair Witch Project, you would really like this one. Next we have The Mimic, a 2017 South Korean film by Woo Jung, and this film is about a mother that is looking for her lost son, but while they're doing this search, she finds a little girl lost in the woods, and she decides to take her home and take care of her, and she develops kind of an obsession of protecting this kid even though she doesn't know anything about this kid. And then obviously supernatural weird things start to happen, and there is more to this kid that what we know. And I really did enjoy this film, and the moment that I saw it, it reminded me of another movie. So I think if you like The Mimic, you will love The Wailing, or if you already watched The Wailing, you will definitely enjoy The Mimic. This is another South Korean film directed by Na Hon-jing from 2016. It is kind of a lengthy film. It's over 2 hours of footage, and it is about this town in Korea and a police officer that lives there when a lot of weird events start to happen. People start to act really weird, and he starts to investigate what's happening, why are people seem that they're losing their minds, what's going on. And The Wailing gets weirder and weirder, and I think that The Mimic is a little bit more you know, not so much over the top, but it does get really weird and disturbing by the end of it. And I just felt like these two South Korean films had the same kind of vibe, and I'm pretty sure that if you liked one, you will also love the other. Next we have Come to Daddy by Ant Thompson. This is a 2019 film starring Elijah Wood as a young privileged boy that goes to find his dad after not seeing him since he was 5 years old. So he received a letter from his dad asking to please come visit him, and he takes this journey to go visit his dad. And when he gets there, things start to go downhill. They start to get really weird and awkward, and this is a kind of horror comedy that is very weird, and it has to be your type of humor. So I decided to pair this film with Tusk from Kevin Smith, because I feel this is another film that it has a very particular sense of humor and it's weird. So they kind of both are weird comedy slash horror films, and for me, I really liked both of them. So I feel like if you like one, you will like the other as well. So Tusk is about this podcaster that is pursuing a story in Canada. However, when he goes to Canada to cover the story, it fell flat and he doesn't have a story anymore. So he finds this house with this old man, and he starts to talk to him, and his past life is so interesting that he's really excited to get to know this man's story and talk about it in his podcast. However, after that first encounter with this old man, things start to go really bad for him. And the last one is The Faculty from 1998, directed by Robert Rodriguez, and this is kind of like a sci-fi horror with teenagers. with a very well-known cast. And it is about this guy that works in the high school newspaper, and while he's taking pictures, he witnesses the murder of a nurse, but then he sees her walking around like nothing happened. And there is a film that has to do with kind of body snatchers, science fiction vibe, that it's called Assimilate from 2019, and it is about these teenagers that are kind of making a documentary about their hometown when they realize that the neighbors have been replaced by people that look like them, but it's not them. So these both movies have the feels of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So if you're into this type of style, I think that you would enjoy both of them. The Faculty is more like cheesy popcorn teenage horror, and Assimilate tries to be a little bit more serious. It's not a perfect film, but I really did enjoy it as a science fiction slash horror film, and I think it has a really good atmosphere and it is not so much talked about. So I just wanted to mention it here in case that you like this kind of genre combined, science fiction and horror, and the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because these are two films that have to do with the same kind of topic. Alright guys, so these are the movie recommendations for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and maybe you found something that you didn't know of, or maybe something that you've heard of but you didn't know if you were sure you wanted to watch, and maybe my video helped. I hope it did. Please let me know down below your opinions on the films that I have mentioned in this video, and thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support. If you want to follow me on the social media, as always, all the links are in the description box down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!